I think I'm afraid of not being alone. Not afraid of being alone, but afraid of not being alone. And to be honest, now that I think about it, maybe being afraid of not being alone is some type of manifestation of the fear of being alone. I don't know. But the other day, I was watching this video and it was a vlog by a creator, and essentially the main theme of the vlog was like maintaining community, and it revolved around like them meeting up with like friends and family and like doing all these things. And they had this like big dinner with friends, and then they went off and then they had like another like meeting with friends and things like that. And I suddenly thought to myself, like, wow, that seems exhausting. I had this kind of like tightness in my chest, and I was like, that seems so exhausting. And I feel like that thought kind of took me aback, the fact that I had that kind of thought. And it's making me think about like how accustomed I am to being alone, being by myself. It was weird to me because I feel like a couple years ago, I would see videos of creators doing like things with their friends and like their families, and the videos would look so fun. And I would think to myself, like, wow, maybe people won't really like my videos because I'm always by myself and I'm always alone. And maybe it'd be more fun like to have all these like extra people and like do things like that. And like I was saying, it seemed fun. Even in that moment, I interpreted it as it looked fun. But now here it is some years later, and I saw something like that, and I just thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, how tiring. And it's like, my videos on my channel, I'm always alone, and I feel like that's not intensely by design. I feel like it's just a reflection of my life. I spend a lot of time by myself. I don't know when it happened, or I guess maybe I do. Around college time was when I kind of just became, I don't know if it's like isolated is a good word, maybe just more secluded. I feel like I've always kind of been avoidant when I think about it. I think about like my first kind of like fling with somebody. I've never had a real relationship, but I've had like flings or whatever. And I remember I felt so uncomfortable because I felt like they were clingy. And I think that was the first kind of sign that maybe I have avoidant attachment style. But I feel like even when I was younger and I did have more people around me, more friends around me, I always felt like something about it wasn't there. Like when I did have really good connections, like they were good, but I feel like it always only went to like a certain point where like I feel like I was always a friend where like if it ended up becoming a group of 3, I was always a friend that like kind of got left out, not in like the mean girl type of way, but in a type of way that you feel and you sense that like the other people are getting closer together than with you. And I don't know why that is, but every time I was in a group of 3, it would always turn out that way. And I feel like I just never fully connected. And I think about it, when I got to around college, I went through like a really major depression where I just was like I isolated myself completely, and I just spent a lot of time to myself. And I feel like even though I recovered from that depressive period, I don't think I ever really went back to a state of being around people that much. And like even in college, like it's hard for me to like maintain relationships or like build relationships. Like just couldn't really feel this connection. And it makes me kind of wonder to myself like why that is, like what is going on there. It makes me wonder, like, is it kind of a consequence of society and what society's looking like now? Is it a consequence of my general personality? I don't know. And I think to myself, like, it would be nice to have a community and group of people, not necessarily anything big. I already know myself. I don't think I ever really want to have that big of a friend group, but I would like to connect more with people and have more meaningful relationships with people. And I think to myself, like, how can I do that? And here it is where I'm seeing something like that. It makes me feel this type of like stress and discomfort, and it's really making me think like, what is that state that I'm in right now? And like, how do I get out of it? Is it part of who I am, or is it something that I have to work through with being vulnerable and things like of that nature? It's really made me think a lot. Like I said, I think I have an avoidant attachment style, but I feel like personally, I think I have a really good sense of atmosphere and sense of emotion and sensitivity of things around me. So I feel like I move accordingly to those feelings. I don't necessarily feel like people have to say things to me to understand. Like they say, like, oh, you should talk things out, you should communicate, and I agree with that. But sometimes you can, if you feel things, if you're one of those type of people, you feel things, then you know. And I feel like something I've noticed in like adult life is like a lot of times people know what they're doing, but they try to test the waters and see what they can get away with, even if it's not necessarily on the forefront of consciousness, or if it's more subconscious. People know what they're doing, and if you have a knack for feeling those types of things, you can point it out, and it makes you feel like you're avoidant. But I feel like you have an understanding of things, and you see things kind of like as they are. I don't know. I've more recently learned about things like avoidant attachment style when I heard about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, wow, that's me. But I don't know. I'm just trying to come to terms and like understand the aspect of my personality and how much of it I need to work on. And it's weird. Like, it's hard to feel like you need to work on something when certain things have saved you from certain negative experiences. I feel like I've preserved a lot of my spirit and a lot of who I am because of that attachment style. I've seen breaches of trust, not with me, but just observing through others, and even almost with me as well. I've seen a lot of breaches of trust within myself. So it makes it harder for me to, I think, maybe have that vulnerability that's needed to foster that community and foster those relationships. And I'm just thinking about a lot more, and I'm thinking about what I can do. Like I said, I do want to have more connections with people. I feel like sometimes even when I've traveled before and I do my solo travels, you can see like my other videos, I've had those feelings of like, what would it be like if I was here with somebody else? And I think my experiences feel even more enriched when I connect with other people, not necessarily people that I know, but like when I meet people and connect with people. For example, I went to a pottery town in a rural town called Mashiko, and I stayed at a guest house, and it was a really intimate experience, and I was pretty much kind of submersed into a local family bit, and I felt like that was so enriching more than just me being by myself. So I know that I want to make more connections, but I'm trying to figure out how I can with like my personality type and whatever personality you dig that I have, my attachment style, whatever, and the things that I've experienced. And I don't know, I'm thinking about it a lot more. How should I open up? Should I open up? It's weird. How do I foster community? I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about those things, and I just wanted to kind of voice it out loud.